Hey everybody, welcome to Smashing Game Time. We are two brothers and a special guest that go through gaming's back catalog of yesteryear. I am your host, Nick. Down below me, freshly off of Epstein's list, it's Josh.
I didn't get indicted.
You should have opened with allegedly. Josh,
Allegedly.
Josh, I'm glad your lawyers are able to hold the authorities off for now so you could be on the show. Not on Epstein's list is our special guest from the Old Switcharoo podcast. It's Jaymo.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey Jaymo, we're so happy you could join us today. Thank you for coming onto the show. For those who don't know the Old Switcharoo, if I remember correctly, I've been podcasting pretty hard here in the new year already. You guys go through like old NES emulated games on the Switch, right?
Yeah, so the Nintendo Switch Online, in order to play games online, you have to have the Nintendo Switch Online service. It starts at like $20 a year. Pretty much everybody has that. Mm-hmm. And then for an extra $30 a year, you can do the expansion pack. And so that gets you basically more free content. And what Mike, my co-host, and I are doing is we are working our way through all 200 plus free retro games get with Nintendo Switch Online. And so we're kind of doing little bunches of episodes. We'll do a tennis episode and cover an NES tennis game, an SNES tennis game, a N64, Mario Tennis and whatnot. And what's cool about it, once we get some eyes on the podcast, is that anyone can play along with us because most people have at least the base subscription, Nintendo Switch Online. And that gets you NES, SNES, Game Boy. I think that's actually it, yeah.
You know, I think I just got an email from Nintendo that was like, hey, your bill is due. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm paying you for something?
Yeah. If you don't use the retro games, it's not super worth it.
So it's funny.
But it's been really fun.
It's funny you mentioned that. So now I'm like, I should probably play along with some of these episodes. I should probably get some games in.
Because we need to have you on our podcast next. So if you have a soft spot, we want anyone to join in because since these games are so accessible, anyone listening to this podcast who's not even in podcasting, come on our podcast. Talk to us about a game because I think that's one of the better things about Nintendo Switch is how accessible it's become.
And great podcast name, by the way. I always love the double entendres. I love the I guess you could call it a play on words almost. I do love it. And again, thank you for coming onto the show. Folks, Smashing Game Time.
Can I ask real quick?
Yeah.
Josh, how's your foot? Like, I just watched your Rick and Morty episode, and he has like some horrible foot injury, but he just teased us a little. I don't even know what he did or how bad this injury was.
Okay, so quick story time. Christmas Eve, so the night before I had fallen asleep. Nothing happened, so I didn't do anything strenuous that week. I may have stayed up until like 1 or 2, played some games. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. So I go to bed. And for some reason, my most severe injuries have happened while I've been asleep. And I don't know what I did, but I woke up and my foot was swollen and it hurt to put pressure on it.
Oh. To me, this sounds like gout because, I remember the 2 times I've gotten gout, like it just kind of came out of nowhere. And then like I would step on my foot and be like, oh, that didn't hurt before. And did your foot kind of feel like, have you ever had turf toe?
So, Nick, I've had gout. I know what gout feels like. This is not gout.
He's danced with gout before.
I've dealt with it. I've had severe cases because of tea. But no, it was all ankle, and it was definitely muscle related. That's as far as I can tell you. Wow. But as far as how it's doing, it's actually better. It's not swollen anymore. It doesn't hurt. I can actually walk on it and not limp. So yeah, for the most part, it's actually pretty good. I have it up right now. Just obviously I don't want to. I'm going to go ahead and knock on my desk because it's made of wood. We're going to be on the safe side, basically, and I want to be able to enjoy my Peloton when it comes in on Friday.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're doing okay, and I just had to ask because it sounded real nasty.
You know what?
Gout has been the boogeyman for me because I hear like you get it if you eat too much meat and cheese, and that's basically like all I do. So I'm like, it's going to get me eventually, but it hasn't gotten me yet.
I got it from tea because at one point I was trying to cut soda out completely, and I was heavily drinking tea, and what started that whole thing was I thought my wife was folding a weighted blanket and putting it at the foot of the bed. And she happened to always throw it on my foot. So my thought was I tossed and turned it at night and I did something to my toe. I had to take back, apologize, make public speeches to let everybody know that I was wrong. But yeah, that's literally what I mean. Like, it happens in my sleep. It literally happened in my sleep, and it was for both cases. And I'm just like, what am I doing at night? I can't be tossing and turning that much that I hurt myself more than I ever did while I'm awake.
Yeah.
Gout has also been my silent striker. Like I've had it twice. The last 2 years, I've had it at least once a year. I had it back in November, and I had like a half of a tea, like just a little red diamond tea, half of it, like. And I don't drink a lot of tea because I'm a coffee drinker, and so I think Josh mentioning his teas got me like paranoid. Just drinking a little bit of tea is gonna set it off for me.
Coffee does it too.
I've read in places that know that say that coffee actually helps. Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm an expert because, like I said, as soon as I quit drinking tea, I haven't had it since.
Well, I did get worried it was all the coffee I was drinking, and then so I stopped drinking coffee for a day, and then I was reading up on it, and they're like, actually, it helps. And I had like enough coffees to replace the coffees I had missed the day before. Cause I was like, no, I'm not gonna miss a coffee.
Wait, coffees that you missed the day before? How many coffees do you drink?
Oh, so much. I get a big red, like not the handle cup, but the Yeti cup, and I fill that up in the morning. I drink that thing, and then maybe I'll have like a cup of Starbucks if I feel like going over there. My office also has a coffee maker, so I'll usually make 1 or 2 of those. I'm drinking water at the same time, so I'm not completely dehydrating myself.
But do you know how much caffeine that is, Nick? You have the equivalent of Panera's charged lemonade.
Oh,
was killing
killed a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it killed 2 kids.
Kids kill kids. Yeah.
This is gonna be a reach, but I feel like our sense of humor is kind of aligned. Did you guys ever see a show called Whitest Kids You Know?
Yep.
Yes. We grew
You know
up
the
on
hot
it.
dog skit? He's having to list how many hot dogs he has in a day. It just ends up being like over 11 or something. That's how he is with the coffee. He's like, well, I have one at work, and I have the big Yeti one, which is actually 3. And it's just like...
I will admit,
at first I thought you were being judgmental. That sounds like a lot of coffee in a day.
I do have a lot of coffee, but there are days where I have a lot, and then I'm like, I've had too much coffee. I need to stop. So I realize it's a problem. Yeah,
he's almost equivalent to the squirrel from Over the Hedge once he drinks the energy drink.
Yeah. Or Fry on his 100th cup of coffee.
Yes.
But you know what? I prefer the too much coffee headaches over the not enough coffee headaches. Like those not enough coffee headaches are like killer. There was a time where I cut out Starbucks for a week, and like by day 3, like you almost had to fucking drive me down and like get like a syringe of coffee and get it into my system because I had a terrible. It was a terrible headache. It was awful.
Addicts call that withdrawals, Nick.
There's a term for that.
And with that, it's a good time to say Happy New Year, everybody. This is Smashing Game Time. Get us wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube Podcasts, which apparently sounds like a hot mess right now for people trying to figure that out. We're also on regular-ass YouTube where you can see our beautiful faces. Come look at us. Come look at Jaymo. Come look at the YouTube video. They say to put a call of action in there so people do it. Let's see if that works. Hey, fuck the algorithm. Tell a friend. That's right. Word of mouth is king here. The robots and the algorithms do not run this shit. I don't want your stars. I don't want your reviews. I just want you to tell your friends. Hate it, love it. I don't give a shit. Let's do the show.
I love that slogan. The algorithm, tell a friend. I was like, that'd be a great shirt.
I want to get it. I do want to get.
Right?
I've been thinking about a new. So we've always for the logo we've always had the Smashing Game Time with the hammer that I just like
cool.
threw together.
I love it, by the way.
It's a great one, and you know what? It's going to be a great throwback logo when we get rid of it. Because what I want to do is I want to have like a robot face with like a human hand punching it, and then like somehow that the bits that are flying off of it spell Smashing Game Time, kind of to play into the fuck the algorithm part of things. I just can't draw. I have some friends that I want to hire to do it. I just gotta save my allowance. I gotta save my allowances, and then we can eventually do that. But hey, enough with what I want to do this year. Josh, we can get into that later. We can get more into 2024 later on. Josh, I want to know how you're gaming and doing right now.
I've already broken one of my resolutions from last year.
Which one?
Wait. 2 days in?
No, not this year's. So I told myself in 2023 that I would never pick up Escape from Tarkov again because of Arena. If you can't Nikita, if you can't finish your product, why the hell are you releasing another? I can tell you why. You blew all your money.
They need that money from you guys.
And you keep taking away from people who have the highest edition, aka me, where I used to get so much and used to be worth it and beneficial. Now I get nothing, and you tell me, okay, we can get Arena. I don't want Arena. I want a finished product that I paid $200 for.
So Josh, how is Arena?
Yeah, like for in forever beta.
Yes. I have not played Arena. You'd have to ask Matt, and Matt says it's pretty good. Well, he said it's decent. He said he made like top 300 in the world.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's good.
And he played with I think he said he played with number 2, number 5, and number 6 in the world.
Are they best friends now?
They definitely have each other's contacts, I would assume.
Maybe we'll have to get.
So this is.
Go ahead.
This has been in my periphery for a while. Is it a battle royale game?
Arena, yeah. So it's supposed to be kind of their take on the battle royales, or like at least like their their equivalent of a multiplayer like versus rather than survival.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm playing it again. They just had a huge update with the swipe, and they have a lot of quality improvements that I can't believe I'm saying that were actually really good.
See, I've never understood the wipe aspect in that game. Like if the main addiction cycle of the game is go collect the really cool stuff so you can keep it in your locker and just look at it like you're Gollum looking at the ring. And then after every few months, they're like, all right, we're going to take your stuff, Gollum. Here, give it here.
Well, here, Nick, here's a better one. Games like Rust, where, they wipe every month. I'm just saying, I agree.
Well,
I don't like... So go ahead.
If it's a regular, cycle refresh, I think that's kind of more understandable. It reminds me of when Pokemon made the leap to Switch, and for the first time, you couldn't get all the Pokemon into a single game, and people were really upset because they're like, motto is gotta catch them all, and we've been catching them all for a decade, and now you pull the rug out from under us, and something about that you can't scratch the itch anymore for completionists, and that's a big part of the appeal, I think.
We can't catch them all if you don't include them all.
Yeah.
Gotta include them all. Gotta include them all.
They do include them all. It's just behind a paywall.
Josh, I'm seeing...
Sounds like you have a love-it-hate-it relationship.
I'm seeing... So you got the escape from Tarkov on here. Anything to report besides your disappointment on that one?
In myself, yes.
Okay.
In the game, it's I'm enjoying it so far. I'll let you know next week how it goes if I still do it. But I've got the hook right now. Apex Legends, the usual. I'm in there. I'm gold 4. The season has been awful. They have rather than just playing to get the points, Nick, to get to your next rank, you get to the gold 1, for example, and then they have a promotion trial where they have a set of goals that you have to do, either win a game or be top 5 and get a combination of 3 kills and or assist in 3 games.
So it's kind of like Fortnite, but they're making it part of your leveling up system.
Yes.
Where you have to get those before you can level up.
Yeah, you have to get it within 5, and if you fail, you lose 1 point, so you go back down. So you have to play another game to get back up into the promotion, and then you have to do it all over again. But this time you'll get 6 tries, and it'll keep going until you finally get it, or say, this is stupid, I'll wait the 43 days until the season wipes and hope that they get rid of it.
I get why they do that.
So Josh, you're a dad. And how do you feel about games taking your time this much? I kind of feel like, I'm a teacher, so my time is also kind of super valuable to me. So sometimes I get mad when games demand so much of your time like that.
So I'm actually not a dad.
I'll take this one, Jaymo.
Nick's a dad.
Jaymo, I'll take this one. I'll take this one. Josh, sit down. I agree. No. So I see stuff like that in Apex, because Fortnite has something similar. But Fortnite's like, oh, here's a list of things you can do. We're not going to force you to pick one. Whereas Apex is like, no, you have to do this one if you want to level up. As a dad, that would annoy the shit out of me because I want to play the game how I want to play. I get why they're doing it because they're trying to have you kind of try everything. But also I'm of the ilk where I kind of want Apex to go away so Titanfall 3 can become a thing. I know.
Yes.
I know I've spoken out in the past about not needing Titanfall 3, but I think we need it now more than ever, Josh.
You're a sham. You're a sham.
I think Titanfall 3 will have Apex aspects, right? They'll try to kind of bring
well,
the
let's just
Apex
face it.
audience into it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, Titanfall essentially is the better version of Apex. Apex, I mean, if you compare them, like the only thing that's currently missing, other than the few weapons they introduced into Apex that wasn't on Titanfall, is wall running.
Still the best wall running in video games.
Yeah.
Bar none.
The movement in Apex is crazy.
Yeah. So that's Apex for you in a nutshell at this point. And then kind of some throwbacks. So I picked up the Pixel Remaster set for the Final Fantasy. So that's 1 through 6. I'm working through it all. I'm about an hour left on Final Fantasy, and I'm trying to 100% the Steam achievements on them too.
Oh,
So I've got about an hour left. Yeah, I know.
Did they increase quality of life features? Like when Mike and I played Shining Force, it was great retro RPG, but God, some of them are like hard to play just in terms of menu navigation.
So they did. They definitely. So for a lot of them, they did go ahead and throw in the cursor memory. So you've got, you don't have to actually do anything other than press a button. They also added the auto battle function, which does whatever the last thing you did, last turn or last even fight, until you stop it. And then it also increases the speed in battles for like 1.5. So they're a little faster. Otherwise, essentially they, it just looks, it's prettier up. So like if you had to compare it to like the Game Boy Advance versions or even the PSP versions, I mean, PSP versions are by far the best. Like play them if you got them.
Are you going through them in order, or did you just jump to 4 like I know you did?
No, I was tempted, don't get me wrong. I am doing it in order. So
dang.
It's been a hot minute since I played 1. It's been a very hot minute since I've played 2. The last time I played 3, and I think the only time I've ever played 3 was when it came out for the DS. So that's when they started doing the 3D versions. Mm-hmm. 4, I know like the back of my hand, I'll get through it pretty fast. 5, I know like the back of my hand, I'll get through pretty fast. 6, I think I've only gotten halfway through the game.
6 is the one everyone considers like the great one before 7, right?
Yeah,
like everyone's like,
correct.
6 is the one you gotta play.
Yes. Oh, well, that's
people
still
think it's the best one. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, literally, you'll have people sit there and fight to the death between 6 and 7 as being the best. And then you'll have people who are like, 10 and 10 too. And they'll say, shut up.
The 10 and 10 2 people are weird, but you know what? They're all wrong because 8 is the only right answer to this.
After disc 1, you lose a lot of people. And that's where my favorite theory for the game comes in.
You and your fucking theories. Every time there's a game that people are on the rope about, you're like, well, you know what? There's a theory that might make you like it a little more.
It adds so much more to it. Well, let's face it. After Squall gets hit in the chest with the ice sickle, all of a sudden the game went from this very militaristic, semi, real feeling to, okay, now there's magic and there's monster. It just went like south, like it jumped the shark. Like, what the hell is going on? We have 2 floating gardens fighting each other. We got,
oh, that's so cool.
We have sorceresses taking over each other. Going into space.
I just introduced Mike to Air Guys. You guys remember that game on PS1? It was the Smash Brothers Final Fantasy kind of game.
I do remember.
It's like 3D fighter with like Cloud and Sephiroth in there. And I never thought it was very good, but that's like it was a fun to kind of be reminded of that little curio, that crossover fighter from PS1 days.
I'm remembering this now. I think there was a demo of it or something.
Yeah, we had a demo.
In the PlayStation Magazine.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you just had a bunch of PS1 memories flood back in. Very intrusive.
We're similar ages. I was really worried you guys were going to be like youngins and wouldn't know about the PlayStation Magazine demo discs.
Well, Jaymo, I don't know if you know this. We have this initiative. We bring on older podcasters that are reaching their golden years. And we guide them and say, yeah, sure, we remember Air Guys. Yeah. No.
And then we take you to a nice beautiful lake and we hand you an old magazine.
Gonna raise the rabbit. Pet the rabbits, George.
Pet
that N64 controller. It's your friend.
Jaymo, look at the purple N64. Look at it. Josh, what's this last game you have on this list before we chase another guest off?
Metroid Prime Remaster.
Is this because we talked about it during Game of the Year?
No, it's actually because Andy bought it for me for Christmas. And instead of putting it on my Steam Deck, I went ahead and put it on, or instead of playing it on my Switch, I'm playing it on my Steam Deck.
Fuck, now Nintendo's coming for us.
I will legally allowed to do that. I have all the necessary tools and authority.
Oh yeah, you own it.
I own it.
Yeah.
And he sold it to he sold me the rights to play it on my no.
I'll let you borrow it. You got your own Switch, we'll get you.
I'll bring the thumb drive over. How is it?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it looks
I'm enjoying
gorgeous.
it. I mean, compared to that hack that I need to put on yours, Nick, for the Wii version, where you can actually use joysticks to play it, I'm digging. Like I honestly want a remaster of 2 and 3, and I want my Metroid Prime 4, and I want my Super Metroid Maker.
That would be cool. You know,
it's tight.
It's funny you mentioned a remake for 2 and 3 because someone on, I think it was the Nintendo subreddit, was like, here's what Nintendo's 2024 potentially could look like. And they had like the Echoes remake box sitting there in April. And I know it was like a fan making it up, but there was part of me that was like, no, this is real. This is what's going to happen.
Feels right.
I need it. I mean, I would say Prime is still the best one. But I have so many memories with 2.
2 is just very. I didn't like the ammo, but 2 just atmospherically just really grabs you. And you know, the first remake that they just put out last year, I mean, the rumor was that Nintendo had that sitting on the shelf for years, and they were just waiting. They're like, okay, not yet. Oh, COVID hit, not yet. Let's hold on to it. These guys are gonna play Animal Crossing for the next 2 years. Hold on.
Do you guys think Metroid Prime 4 is gonna be like the last Switch game / first Switch 2 game?
I could see it. Yeah,
because they always reserved that honor for a Zelda game, and I mean
that's true.
They just blew their load with Tears of the Kingdom, and so
and also like I've heard that the Switch 2, one of the things they're touting already is how easy it's going to be to transition from a Switch gamer to a Switch 2 gamer. So I could see them releasing it for the new system, but being like anyone on the old system can also play it, and we can play together and promote it that way.
They've got to be scared shitless, just because, I mean, the last time they tried transitioning from one console to another with like a similar name, it did not go well. I kind of feel like in a world where we're like, I have the iPhone 14, I have the Android, or I have the Notebook 6. I almost feel like they have to throw a 2 on it.
Yeah.
I feel like the 2 is almost necessary at this point, or else people are going to be like, oh, it's like a Switch Lite, but it's the new Switch or whatever.
I like how we all thought the Wii U was the worst name ever, and then Xbox Series X. It's like, oh, what are you doing over there, guys? How did you out bad console name Nintendo?
It's the most Microsoft ass name I've ever heard.
Oh, it's awful.
Josh, anything else on Metroid Prime Remaster?
Get a copy if you don't already.
It's sealed over there. I might just keep it sealed because it feels like Nintendo games like become gold when they're in their wrappers. Jaymo, our guest of honor, what are you playing?
Well, so I wanted to talk about a couple different games. First thing I had to do was bring up Robo Quest. Heard it, played it, know of it.
I remember playing it for a bit, and I see it come up every so often on my Reddit feed, but
yeah, it's on Game Pass now, and it's like, I call it like the best roguelite most people have never heard of. It's first-person shooter roguelite, 2-player co-op, and it has this really great sweet spot in roguelite gameplay where if everything on the screen looks overwhelming, the number of attacks and defense and sort of, movement options are just limited enough that you always know exactly what your options are. So it's a real, like, I kind of consider sort of Bayonetta and high-level League of Legends play as sort of like that, where it looks overwhelming, but heat of the moment, everything kind of clicks and makes sense.
It's giving me, giving me Borderlands. I'm looking at some screenshots here right now, and I'm like, oh, this is very pretty. I felt the same way the first time I saw Borderlands. Like, oh, that's very like cell shaded, cartoony looking, but like with the numbers popping off, so the numbers kind of add to that carnage that you're talking about. and you're just watching the numbers tick away as you're like trying to like, oh, is this guy almost dead? The numbers, just come on, the numbers are they on my side?
And it's satisfying too. Like I'm a sucker for like you fire off a good shot and you see that like 999 fly up in the air and you're like, oh yeah, like good hit. And so it's just an endorphin machine. And it's funny because when I saw the Borderlands-esque cell shaded graphics, first it was kind of a turnoff, but you know, it grew on me. So anyone who has Game Pass, which I think is a lot of people, check it out and definitely, you know, bring a friend and play co-op because I think that's definitely the way to go. And the game kind of seems almost impossible at the higher levels alone.
How are the guns? I'm seeing a lot of variety here in this trailer.
It's cool. It's kind of, you know, it's slow to get started. You got your submachine guns, your shotguns, but you know, then you start getting into really cool things, which is like, you know, the mine cannon where you're popping off landmines and then you choose when to detonate them, which I didn't think would work in a game as hectic as this, but they pull it off. Like every gun just feels like a fun take on it and also really satisfying. And I think it's a bummer when you play roguelites and you don't ever want to change your weapon. You're like, I got mine. I'll just level this up till the end of the game. One does a really good job of encouraging experimentation because you always have that second slot. So, okay, I don't really like this new one. I'll swap that one out next time. And I'm a sucker for roguelites, and I think this is a really good one.
Well, I have Game Pass, so I think I might check this out once the calendar opens up.
We gotta friend each other. I'll play with you.
I'll find you on the Xbox.
I'll play the shit out of you.
So we can play on your Series X.
I say worst.
Oh, I got the S.
Oh, I'm sorry, your S. I'm sorry.
worst namers, but you guys are like, oh well, when it comes to Game Pass, here we are.
Game Pass is the best thing about this console generation. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just is.
I'm baffled that it makes sense as like an economic model. But I think I feel like a lot more games that would have been overlooked have been given this spotlight. That's been really cool for indie gaming. Marvel Snap, another one. I'm a real big Marvel Snap fan.
I fell off back in July. The meta when I was playing was, I think it was still Thanos at the time. Thanos was still very heavily played. Is he still reigning supreme? What's the meta like right now?
So Thanos has been nerfed a lot. The biggest combo. So for those who don't know, Marvel Snap, it's essentially, if you ever played War with playing cards, poker cards, you just win by getting the highest number, but you're playing 3 games of War simultaneously. Your goal is to win 2 out of the 3 games. And so one of the best things about it is that like the cards are all really well themed, that you can kind of imagine the battles happening. I think to me that's like the best card game, is that when it's very simple on the surface, but inspires a lot of imagination and like hype moments. So like just Captain America, it's a terrible example because he's one of the most underpowered cards in the game, but Captain America, his thing is that he makes everybody in his lane stronger. It's like, yeah, he's the leader, he's the Avenger, he has the hype, motivational speeches that make sense for his power. And so Thanos really ruled the meta for the longest time because when he's in your deck, you get the Infinity Stones, which all have the ability to draw extra cards. So he's the only playstyle where you get to cycle through a deck looking for your ideal cards. And so they really have nerfed him a lot, and the cards around him. The big meta right now is this character called Annihilus. Does that ring a bell for either of you guys?
The name does, but I'd have to actually see a picture.
Yeah, he's, sort of this also ran Marvel villain, but his ability is to take all the cards that have negative power on your side and send them to your opponent. Which, so not only is it lowering their numbers, but it's cluttering their board, and it's just the biggest troll move. And I think they'll nerf him eventually, but what makes him really killer is that, let's say you try to send a junk card to your opponent. Well, if it can't make the journey, it just blows up.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
It's like no risk, all reward. It's pretty nuts.
Is he a 6 power card?
He's he's 7 power and he costs 5.
Oh.
He's usually reserved for the last turn of the game or the second to last turn. But I mean, this game, a game has not got me by the brain banana since Street Fighter 2. I think it is just this perfect sweet spot. There's something about those 3-minute games that, like, I mean, you play one when you're microwaving a burrito. You play a whole game of Marvel Snap, before the microwave dings. It's just impossible to put down.
Oh, it ate up a lot of my early 2023. Like I had every battle pass. I was playing it constantly. I was playing it at work. I'm not at my work where I did this anymore, so I don't feel shamed to say this. I streamed it at work on my phone.
You streamed it.
I did. I felt bad. I was like, I closed my door and I was like looking around. I drew the shades on my windows. I didn't have a camera on me or anything.
You're being brave. I'll be brave. There was one day at my most addicted where all my students. So the way my classroom is laid out is that they're facing away from me, and I'm at my desk behind them, and it's great because like kids can have private conversations with me, and the whole class isn't looking at them, and I can see what's on all their computer screens. And there might have been one day where they were all writing an essay, and the class was particularly well behaved. Like I can just do a game real quick. No one turned around. No one turned around, and nobody did.
It's quiet, and out of nowhere they hear Avengers assemble.
Dun, 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 dun.
For a while, I was playing a Black Panther deck, and I really liked. I always had America Chavez as my to help mill the deck out because you would draw her in 7 or in the last turn. And I think
They changed her ability.
I think I saw recently they changed her, and I was like, wow, I don't even know what this game is anymore. Like that card.
I mean, it
seemed
makes
like
sense.
that card seemed really balanced and like the most locked in, and just the fact that like. Here we are a year plus later, and they're like actively like rebalancing the game, retooling cards. I think that's great. I think that's awesome.
She never played it, right?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, did Nick ever play it?
Oh, I played the hell out of it.
Yeah, but did Josh?
I did as well. I didn't play as much as Nick did. I got. I'm trying to remember who was the big thing. Actually, I think it was like the second season. After the second season, I finally was like, yeah, I'm done playing this. It's fun. It's just it was just the same. Like for the longest time, it was the same meta over and over again.
Yeah, they've done a better job at that.
Oh, I'm sure. I have to go back and play it.
And the last game, I'd be a fool not to plug one of our upcoming episodes. We got our season finale coming up, where Mike and I are going to talk about our highs and our lows of our first 40 games, and then our season premiere is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Rystar, the Sonic team games.
Classics.
And so I just fired those up for the first time, and those games are just they're perfection. Just moving works of art.
The soundtracks alone for Sonic 2, I mean, like you have me at hello.
Emerald Hills like rings through my head, and so does the wanna the underwater like
the panic.
The panic rings through my
I had
ears.
a really serene moment. I'm going to get dramatic for a second, but it's just sort of part of my life story. So my mom passed away a couple of years ago, and kind of the first thing my family and I did together after she passed was we went to go see the Sonic movie. And there's a moment towards the end of it where, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that movie, but I thought they were way better than they had any right to be.
Oh, I thought they
were so fun.
They were good.
Yeah. So there's a moment towards the end of the first movie when they're rebuilding their destroyed house, and it's just this beautiful piano cover of Green Hill Zone. And there was just this very like serene sense of relief that like this actually pulled it off. It went from like ugly full head of teeth Sonic to like this really charming and like emotionally satisfying movie. And like my whole family, we're all big Sonic fans. We like needed that moment, because of what we'd been through recently. So it was just like, I'm with you. The Sonic music is wonderful. And that's the worst thing about Sonic Dream Team. I just finished that, the Apple Arcade exclusive. It's skippable, but it has amazing music.
Put it on the box. Skippable. Amazing music.
Buy our soundtrack.
It's just like, some of the best Sonic songs I've heard in a long time. Like, man, no one's going to know how great this is because it's an Apple Arcade exclusive. And I think Apple might have bankrolled it. Something's coming anywhere else.
It sucks. Usually it's you're locked there for a year and then they let you go. But man, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. So Nick, what have you been playing?
Oh boy, so I have a new Steam Deck over here. It's actually the screen's cracked over here. I think I just spilled some Kool-Aid on it too.
That's the only one you're getting.
But this actually happened. I heard this in one of your other videos, and I was horrified.
No, I'm just finding ways to fuck with Josh. Since Josh bought it for me, I just keep finding ways to just tease him about.
I do have a screen protector for you if you want it, though. I just ordered some more for mine. I'm being dead serious.
I'm not gonna say no because if I say no, that's when I will actually drop it. So I'd be like, maybe. So on that, my main Steam Deck game right now is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which I had started playing on my computer. It's one of those games where I was just like, I need to sit down. So for those who don't know, this is I need to sit down or lay down and be more comfortable is what I mean. This is a Jet Set Radio like inspired game. You're on your inline skates, you're on your skateboard, you're on a bike, and you're grinding around town, competing with other gangs and like tagging over their tags and like trying to outscore them. The skating is tight and fun. The art style is very, very cartoony as well, just like the Jet Set Radio series. That game has a fun twist in the beginning because you're escaping from jail. You're a well-renowned graffiti artist, and you get your head cut like you're escaping, and someone cuts your head off. And so the whole the whole game. So the gang that helped you escape gets you like a robot helmet or a robot head, and the whole game is about you like coming up in this city, taking over the city, and trying to find your original head.
That's an amazing premise. I'm stoked to hear that because I played through both Jet Set Radio games when they came out on like the Dreamcast and Xbox. So I've been a fan of the series, but the story was always very underbaked. It was like a cool setting, but they didn't really do much with the story. So I'm stoked on this, and it has a lot of the original devs coming back and working on it. If I remember right, is that true, or is it just an homage?
I believe there's some overlap. I don't know to what extent. But you can get like, I mean, I've never played either game, and I've always just known of the series through like osmosis or just seeing it covered somewhere. And the first time I picked it up and played it, I was like, oh, this is Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Jet Set fucking Radio. I swear, it's fun. It's one of those games where it's It's basically a collectathon. Like, oh, hey, there's that new graffiti that I don't have. I need to find a way to skate up there and get it. Oh, hey, there's this place I need to go tag over here, and you can like unlock a map of an area. And I was just like last night I was just sitting there like, okay, I need to go here. I need to go there. I need to go. And it's just fun. Turn your brain off, listen to some good hip hop, and skate around and do some wicked stuff. The gangs that you fight are also really cool. The first one is they're like Frankenstein's monster, and they're called the Franks. And they like dance like they're like Frankenstein. The second one were what were they? I just fought them last night. They were like they're very into astrology.
Bride of Franks.
I wish. They're very astrology driven. They I think they're called like the Genesis or something like that. But like the whole time they're messing with you, they're talking about like your sign and stuff. And like, oh, typical Capricorn, which I am. So
it's funny. Do you still have the ability to create your own custom graffiti? Like that was a thing on the Dreamcast. You could do a little crude like MS Paint style drawing, and then that's what you'd paint in the game world.
I haven't seen anything like that. Doesn't mean it's not in there, but maybe further along. I'm only in the 4th area, which I think there are 5 or 6. So maybe it's something in the options I haven't seen yet, but I'll keep an eye out for that. What is cool when you go to spray paint, like the way that you pick what you're spray painting is your starting direction, and you kind of like just like do like a shape, and that's what determines what you paint. And so it's really fun trying to remember. I think there is an achievement for like tag everything in an area with a different tag. So you're sitting there trying, okay, which one did I use? I'm almost tempted to pull out a notebook. But then I'm almost tempted to be like, I don't need this achievement. Who am I trying? Who is this for? Who is this for?
For yourself. It's for yourself.
No.
Appreciate.
Let's see. When I can get it to run properly, I'm also playing Alan Wake 2. So what I had to do, I finally updated my driver. Josh, I had to buy Drive Booster to be able to update my driver properly on my card.
You literally could have
PC
just bought my
gamers, man.
library.
I know.
PC gamers have it rough.
It was on sale. So I was like, screw it, let's do this. And so I updated that. It was still running like shit. So the issue I'm having with it, it's not in-game, it's the cutscenes. So like, let's say this is a cutscene right now. Everything that I'm saying would be like a minute behind. And that's every cutscene. And so it kind of takes me out of it. But oddly enough, when it's the full motion video cutscene, so when it cuts to like actual Sam Lake and the other actors, plays perfectly. No sync issues. It's only like the big cutscenes when there's a lot of assets like around. So it drives me nuts. But otherwise, in-game is running really well. I just got to the first part where you play as Alan Wake. beat the first boss before Alan came back, actually. And it's a scary game. I've had a few jumps. There hasn't been any like dread yet, but like there have been plenty of jump scares. I like Saga. I like her mind room with the ability to like pause the game, be in her investigation room, and kind of look at your board and trace the yarn. And kind of piece
That's the
together.
big feature everyone's talking about is the investigation feels sort of authentic because like games don't really pull that off very well often. It's like you walk into a room and you just got to click the right object and the character will just figure something out and tell you. So I was excited to hear that was, you know, more fleshed out in this one, because I felt like the gameplay in the first game, I played through Alan Wake 1, it was a little overly simplistic, I thought.
Well, and the investigating was always like, it was an issue for me back in LA Noire because it was like, all right, I'm going to pick up this Coke bottle and I'm going to, oh, this Coke bottle has a date on it. This expired yesterday. That might be a clue. And then your character would like write it in the journal. Whereas here,
that game was so ambitious and so weird.
my favorite thing is just like sitting on a character's face trying to decide if they're lying or not. And they're just like doing like, but no, I'm enjoying Alan Wake 2. I got through. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but I just got through the first Alan Wake portion, and I haven't gotten to the portion that everyone's talking about. I'm waiting for that to pop up, but the part I'm in is very eerie right now. Josh, I see your little thing moving around on the website. You knocked that off. Off, Josh.
Don't you worry about what's going on over here. Just keep talking about your games.
And then also, I'm also playing the new season of Fortnite. I'm really enjoying it. They've got the weapon attachments, so you can pick up like a sniper rifle, and it might not even have a scope. And so you have to go into one of the safes one of the safes around the map and go up to the workbench and attach a scope that costs gold, or like you have options of different scopes, different handles. You can put a muzzle or a suppressor on it, and you can do that across the board. And then this season is the closest it's been to a season I played. I think the first season I played actually back in 2020, which was the spy season. So there's bosses around the map. They're actually hard again. There's a cruise ship on the map, kind of like when they had Deadpool in the game. So I'm like playing it and having a good time, but also feeling very nostalgic at the same time, which is funny because Fortnite just had the OG season before this. And so I'm just like, fuck, am I one of those nostalgia junkies now? Because I'm really enjoying this. And I haven't.
What do you think about Rocket Racer, the racing mode? I thought it was pretty good. Like
I like it.
Once it's locked at Fortnite.
Once you get used to like how the drift works, I think it's a lot of fun. The drift and then like how to wall bounce, because that was like the most confusing thing for me out of the gate. But once I learned how to do that, I'm like, I mean, I haven't played enough to really be ranked high, but I think I'm gold 2 or something like that. But I mean, anytime I play it, I sink an hour into it before I realize that, shit, I've been doing this for a while. I need to stop. I enjoy it. I started the Lego side of it and was just like, I don't really want to have another survival building thing to do. So I checked out of that. Haven't even played the music one because I just don't have any interest in that and don't feel like spending money on the tracks, which I think they're like 500 V-Bucks a piece, which is just too much. Way too much.
Right. And then can you even use like a Guitar Hero controller with it?
I don't think so. I think it's all mouse and keyboard or gamepad.
Yeah, rhythm games, I always need like the actual maracas or the guitar. I just have never gotten into a rhythm game on the controller.
There's very few games. Like Melatonin's like the one that I can play on a controller. Otherwise, maybe Rez.
Rez is a good one.
I haven't played Rez in a while, so I don't know if I'd be weird about it. But I can't. Yeah, I can't. I can't like. It's like the thumb being out and staying on beat with the thumb just feels weird.
Agreed.
But that's what I've been playing. We looks like everyone's starting out the new year very busy. I have another game that I'm getting ready to start playing. I don't think I can talk about yet, but hopefully by next week I won't be annoying next week and we'll be able to talk about it. I always hate when people do that, but I start to see why. They're like, oh, I should probably at least mention I'm playing this thing.
That's so cool though that you have like a game, you know, you're getting a first look at something. And that's so exciting.
I just wish there was more money involved in it. If I were being blunt.
Don't we all?
Josh, you got some news for us?
Read all about it over, mister?
It's time for old news.
Yeah, I sure do. We got a couple articles. Let's go.
All right, let's
go. Starting off, Ben Studio, we cooking with new IP.
All right, so this is an article from. Oh well, hold on. I gotta go to the page.
It's Game Rant.
Game
by
Rant.
Dane Anerio.
Good.
For those who don't know, Ben Studio was the studio who developed Days Gone, my favorite zombie game. I think it's better than The Last of Us.
You're wrong.
I'm sorry, I'm not a sheep and conform to your society.
Oh.
Well, hey, The Last of Us Part 2 is the best.
Like a real survival simulator, though, right? Because I mean, Last of Us is so story oriented, isn't? Days Gone?
It's more linear, more like it's more story driven. Where Days Gone is definitely more of an open world, and then their zombie take, of course, is much different compared. I mean, obviously, everybody has their own take of what zombies are, but this one is by far the grossest with the shit nest.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That is gross.
Yeah,
what?
They make their nest with their feces and sticks.
That's how they spawn more zombies.
Well, that's how they make their nest, and that's how they like when they build their hordes. That's what they build their like homes with. So and during the day when they're sleeping, that's what they're sleeping in.
Oh, gross.
Okay, keep it classy. All right, I like it.
Hey, these zombies like to keep a clean house. Okay.
Yes.
Who are we to judge?
Did you touch my shit?
Yeah.
Did you touch my shit? I told you not to touch my shit.
Literally touch my shit.
But yeah, so essentially they've been kind of quiet for a hot minute. I think Days Gone was 20.
Was that 2016, 2017?
2016, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so they've been quiet for a little bit, but they're working on new IP. And in a tweet, somebody asked them like, "Hey, how's the new IP going?" And they literally said, "We cooking."
I thought that was it could spawn a whole news story just being that cryptic. But I mean, so you guys I sort of hope it's not an open world game. Not that I don't love those, but I just feel like that's just what the PlayStation brand has become. Is that they crush these open world games. So I think they have the competency as a studio to. I mean, first of all, I'm excited there's just a new IP. It's so easy to just cash in on sequels these days that anytime someone's going to make something new, I'm into it.
I mean, as much as I'm excited for it being a new IP, I also really enjoyed Days Gone. I would love to see a sequel to that. I mean, they left it on such a good cliffhanger too.
But Josh, the days are gone. The days are gone. There are no more days.
I will backhand you in your Last of Us looking ass.
Jaymo, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Looking here, it says Studio's upcoming game will be an open world multiplayer experience.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that. Yeah.
So I'm a little. First of all, this is very weird because this seems to be like the one studio that Sony just is kind of like, This is like the middle child of Sony. I kind of feel like they're like, here, take this, go over there and play. Whereas, you look at like what these other studios are doing. Fucking Naughty Dog just canceled their multiplayer zombie game. It looks like Insomniac, based off of those leaks, which fuck those people for leaking that shit, but it looks like Insomniac is in Marvel prison for the next 10 years. And so the fact that Sony's like, you know what, Ben Studio, go over there, go do a multiplayer thing, sure, why not? Especially when that first Days Gone game meets their like cookie cutter mold that like all their other games have, that third person action narrative. So I mean, I agree with Josh. I think Days Gone did enough to like in its own way to be like, hey, we're a series, let us stay around. But at the same time, I'm also like, well, you have the better zombie series over here with The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 and Part 3 hopefully soon. So you don't need another zombie game. We have zombie game at home.
I don't want to be their own competitor necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, they're both exclusive, so it's like, what does it matter? Have them buy both games. Like one is, like we said, one is linear and story driven. The other one is more open world actiony, and it's the cool cousin.
The cool cousin. All right, Josh.
Would you be open to them developing a Last of Us open world game? Like, because then you got the built-in audience, but then you got the cool open world gameplay. You're not into it.
I know. I
you want
think
your shit nests.
No, I do want my shit nest. I mean, I'm not against it. I wouldn't, shoot it down immediately. I very much loved Days Gone to the point where I have it for, PC and PlayStation. Like I'm an advocate for it because I think it's such a good underrated game. Don't get me wrong, when it first came out, definitely it was a hot mess. But nowadays, that's like the thing. Like everybody on release is a very hot mess, and everybody's like, "Oh, just give it time, give it time." Why should this be any different? You should have given it time. You should go back and play it, and honestly reintroduce yourself to the world and go, "Damn it, do I want more shit zombies?"
I mean, point me in the direction of any Sony first party game that didn't launch with a few hiccups here and there that people were complaining about.
True.
Yeah.
What we got next?
So moving down the list, Baldur's Gate 3, too spicy to record on Xbox.
What?
That's what cracked me up.
So, and I didn't realize this was a big deal. Like Sony didn't have any issues with them. Steam, of course. I mean, obviously, you go on there, you can pretty much see Rule 34 anywhere you go. But yeah, I did not realize that this could get you banned for a year or suspended for a year. Like, it baffles me. You knew what you were getting into when you said, "Yeah, we want it on our console."
Are there any other sexually explicit games on Xbox? I can't think of anything where you're maybe like because they did do a Witcher like reintroduction.
Witcher 2.
And Witcher has the Witcher 3 has like full nudity.
Witcher 2 literally starts with Trish butt ass naked.
I didn't,
literally within the first 5 minutes of the game.
I didn't know
Trish is naked.
This is another game rant, by the way. This is from Jason Finelli. I did not know. You said Witcher 2. Hold on, let me write that down.
Yes. I only know that because I only played the first 5 minutes of the game, and I was there for 30 minutes.
Jeez.
I think though, I feel like this has to be some sort of algorithm. I know how you guys feel about those.
No, it's definitely AI driven. It's something machine wise has come in and is doing the work, and it's flagging it. And
the graphics have gotten good enough at this point that the AI thought it was full on porno. And and the fact that the article mentions that they've filed an appeal for the ban and haven't heard back, I would be shocked if this was somehow intentional and is not lifted. Although it'd be great PR for the game, though. It'd be like the game that's too hot to show you on the Xbox or whatever.
Too hot for Microsoft.
So this is a game I've been wanting to get into, but I'm not a PC gamer. It primarily just kinky times. Like, isn't that also battles and like? All I ever hear about is the kinky stuff.
If you ever played Mass Effect, it's a little more drawn out than like you do a mission and then between the mission, but oh hey, there's Garrus. I'm gonna go flirt with Garrus and like get to know Garrus a little more. Like for example, this character on the screen, Shadowheart, after one of the big missions, one of the earlier big missions. You and her go for a picnic and you kind of just talk about like her path as a cleric, her path as basically a religious like follower, and how she's kind of like in the doubts, and that kind of leads to the next time. I don't think I ever did it, but because I was chasing other interest at the time. But I think there's a moment where you can skinny dip with her, if I remember correctly, or at least swim with her, and then again you talk more in the water. And yeah, so I look at Mass Effect and I think of it in that way. Just more sexy.
I don't play a lot of games like this where you have like these like in-depth like romantic options. Like the closest thing I've done recently was like Firewatch. I don't know if you guys played that game, but like the radio romance you have, and like I felt intimate. I was like, this is intense.
I mean, hold on, let's be honest. So there's literally, you can literally have sex with a bear.
Yeah. Is that why the bear is the article? You're in your top 10 article. You have the bear face. I was like, I feel like this bear is important. He's got a look in his eye.
There's nothing sexy there. It's just it's pure instinct at that point. Primal.
I'm just, they had a chance at a Goldilocks where like your character could be like, oh my god, no, this one is just right. They missed it. Hey, be careful on your Xbox. You might catch an STD playing Baldur's Gate on your Xbox if you're not careful.
It's more like a cease and desist at this point.
I'm going to put my hand over the camera because my students might one day find this. So.
Speaking of cease and desist, Josh, this next one has none of those.
So of course, for those who aren't aware, Mickey Mouse, 95 years away from the public domain, and has finally entered it. And already it's a very hot mess. So horror game was revealed. There was like 2 big movies announced. But sticking to the game aspect, they had to go under some. It's bad. It's bad. 3 days in, guys, come on.
So,
and we're already having these issues with, Nazi connotations. Like, come on, guys, come on.
So we got. Oh, I'm sorry. The last one was GameSpot. This one is also GameSpot. You guys' logos are too similar. GameSpot and Game Rant. Figure it out. The G, really? The G. The G. So Mickey Mouse horror game revealed undergoes name change due to Nazi connotations. This article is from Chris Pereira and Eddie McCooch. Great name, Eddie. Yeah. So I forget what the name was, but I read it. I read the name earlier in another article.
Infestation 88.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, that's some Nazi shit, if I'm remembering correctly.
And
it's embarrassing that like you remembered that, and like they're making a game that has Nazi tie-ins, and it was just a real like caught with your pants down. Like, you guys didn't do your research for this. It's just meant to grab headlines though for being the Mickey Mouse horror game, so I doubt it'll affect the success or failure of the game that much.
No, I mean, really, at this point, it's more SEO. They're like, hey, let's go ahead and talk about this because obviously it's a big deal. And obviously, not trying to make light of the situation. Like, come on, guys. Well, it's not hard. The Wikipedia exists. Is it accurate all the time? No.
Well, and like you said, Josh. Well, first of all, it's Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney, so I mean, there's kind of Walt Disney's background. He very hateful guy, very hateful guy, just like the Nazis, very hateful folks. But I'm looking at
really. I haven't heard that.
Well, all right. Well, I'm glad you're not a history teacher, because then I'd be worried about what's going on in this classroom.
Jesus. Okay.
But so I'm looking at this picture of Mickey Mouse from this still in this trailer, and I'm looking at this, and I think there's a still from a movie or something. There's something else out there, and I've seen all these things for this Mickey Mouse has gone wild, and he's everywhere in these different medias, and I see them all, and I just can't distinguish all of them apart because
they all want to go horror.
Yeah,
they're doing. They saw how successful. I say it loosely, successful. The Pooh Bear horror movie was
Blood and Honey.
Yes. And so they're like, oh, let's hop on this bandwagon. Mickey Mouse goes public 2024 day 1. Let's be the first ones out there with it.
No, it just reeks of like, hey, we're creatively bankrupt. Oh shit, look at what's on the public domain. And I'm also just disappointed that nobody's jumped in and done just like hey, we're gonna do Steamboat Willie, but it's the Great Gatsby.
Right.
I'm still waiting for there to be some type of announcement of like, I don't know, maybe something on a little higher intensity of other than Rule 34.
You know what?
Whoa,
Josh, you're not looking hard enough.
I want a Sex with Mickey 3D.
You're not looking hard enough. It's out there. No, Josh, we're not.
I'm building it. I've got AI and building
Josh,
it.
no, we're not.
It right
Josh,
now.
no.
Yes.
No.
The sad thing though is that like he mentions AI building it. Like at this point, even as garbage like clickbaity as this game is designed to be, I'm like, well, at least I feel like a human being was behind this insensitivity and this stupid idea. Mm-hmm. I think we got a couple more years of human beings still making stuff, before the algorithm just makes everything. I don't know. I think this.
We need like something made by AI to come out and for everyone to just see how bad. And people are already doing it. There was that Hannah Montana ripoff. I think her name was like Maria Indiana or something. She was an AI woman. All the music was AI, and you're just like, oh shit, this is what these bros want. This is disgusting. The real power move that I want for Mickey Mouse, which for those not in the know, so you can use his likeness, you can kind of like play around with his design. You just can't use the name Mickey Mouse in naming it. So what I want to happen, I want Nintendo, I want those ballsy motherfuckers at Nintendo to introduce a new Smash character and just call him the Mouse.
No, that'd be hilarious. I've actually always thought that the next Smash game, because they can't out ultimate. Like they'll never get that many characters in the game ever again, just from a pure licensing and legal standpoint. So I thought that, since Sakurai is also getting kind of old, get some of the younger people on the team and start a separate series and do Disney. and do, you know, Disney, like, you know, Mickey Mouse versus Mike Wazowski versus Iron Man versus, you know, Darth Vader, you have this crossover potential they did with
But
Disney Infinity. Such a waste of the brand.
the problem with that though is look at how bad what's the
All-Star
DC
Brawl
game?
is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
Injustice?
no,
Multiverses.
Multiverses. Look how bad that did. Look how, and even then, I mean,
Oh.
the Nickelodeon version equivalent. I mean, like, yeah, they have the names and stuff, but really, it's about execution.
Right. That's why I think the Smash team should just take those characters, because I think they could pull off the execution. They just need new characters, you know, to keep that series going. Because I don't know, how do you do Smash 5 at this point? I don't know if you guys are big fans of that series.
So
but...
they're not going to, or at least not.
Right.
Yeah, if they do, it's probably going to be a free to play with a lot of. So basically, what we're seeing now is just, you know, you're going to be paying for skins, you're going to be paying for seasons and stuff like that. Would be my guess.
I could see them trying to, and it's going to be a pain in the ass with all the licensing they've done on the back end, but I could see them trying to port Ultimate to the Switch 2 and just trying to, kind of like what they did with Mario Kart for the Switch, Mario Kart 8, where it's essentially the same game, but they're like, hey, you motherfuckers like racetracks? Here you go. We got a year planned of them. Here you go. And so I think that's what they'll do. Ultimate will come to the Switch 2. They might lose a character.
Just have more DLC. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh shit, we lost Steve because Minecraft is weird. But you know what we got now? We went and got Scooby-Doo. That's right. We went and got Scooby fucking Doo.
Yeah.
So play it.
I mean, well, anybody at this point can do better than Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's face it. It's been on 3 fucking generations.
Good for them.
Well, you only got to wait 2 more years for the next game. So.
Oh, it's getting pushed to 20. Let's be serious. It's getting pushed to 26.
Yeah,
Josh, what you got?
The PlayStation 6 launch game.
Yeah.
PlayStation 7. Josh, what you got next?
Yeah. So, Siri apparently decided to listen to me.
Siri.
Last thing on the list, beaten by a child. Tetris NES. So essentially, NES Tetris has been known to basically be like a very, like, the most difficult one of them all, or one of the most difficult. And yeah, this 13-year-old kid who's old enough to be the son of Tetris beat it. Loosely beat it.
Loosely. So this comes from Cat Bailey over at IGN. So he got the kill screen. I like to imagine this kid's dad was very into Tetris, and he was running through the house to tell like the other kids and his partner, like, hey, Tetris kill screen coming up. Kind of like that King of Kong moment where that guy's going around telling everyone there's a kill screen.
I always reference that moment, and no one ever knows what I'm talking about. It warms my heart to hear you make that joke. I'll just walk up to people, got Donkey Kong kill screen coming up if you're interested.
We got a Tetris kill screen going on in the living room. You guys don't want to miss this. It's never happened. I hope they recorded it. Wait, hold on.
They recorded it.
Oh, they did. Oh my god.
Yeah. If you go further down there, I think the video down there plays it.
Okay, we gotta sneak a peek at this.
God,
thank God.
So fast.
How long is this video?
And he's also doing the rolling, where you take the controller, put it sideways, and you flick.
Yes.
Putting your I've seen people do it. I'm like, that has to hurt after some point, though, or start to get like hurt your knuckles.
How does he even react at this speed?
Well, I mean, at this point, it's probably the only game you play, or it's like you spend hours upon a day.
As someone who recently had a moment with Tetris in Austin playing Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect, you're into it.
I never understood the Kool-Aid of Tetris, but now that I've played Tetris Effect, I'm like, no, this is beautiful. This is gaming.
Were you sober playing that game?
Some of it.
Because if you were, you played it wrong. That game would make you cry if you're not. Like, there he goes. Oh, that's cool.
He's so happy. Yeah. Look at that joy.
It means something to him. That's what my takeaway from this, is
it's fantastic. Like I'm glad a younger generation is taking up arms and showing like, hey, we're not just a generation of Minecraft and Roblox. Like we actually, can actually go back and play Tetris. We can actually connect shit.
Nice. Nice block connection, Josh. I appreciated that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, that's good. They fill in the gaps. But so that's interesting because like my a lot of the students in the pandemic fell behind in like reading and writing, and so I'm definitely seeing that. A public school teacher, and it's not their fault for a big portion of it. But what's been really interesting is that they have skills that I think kids our age when we were going through school didn't have. So like I do this activity about reliable sources where they're shown a series of images, and some of them are authentic and hard to believe, and some of them are photoshopped.
Mhm.
They have to guess which one is real, which one is fake, and every year the kids get better at spotting the fakes.
Good.
That's a good sign.
Good.
You know what I mean? And because like they're tech savvy and they can spot a very clever deception. So it really warms my heart to see this kid not only knowing, a game like Tetris, but feeling so connected to it. Tetris effect connected, if you will.
The music is ringing in my ears.
Thank you for including that. That starts the year off on a good note.
That is beautiful. I look at this and it makes me like think back to like game preservation and all the efforts into that and why it's so important. And I look at something like Game Pass, like yes, it's capitalistic, yes, but like it's putting games all in one spot. And I mean, if you look at music, like stuff like Spotify, like they have a lot of bad things about them, but having that stuff available to you, being able to easily access it at that young of an age, whereas when we were younger, like the only music we had access to was whatever our parents had, or whatever games we had access to was whatever our parents had or was willing to get us. And I don't know. I look at this and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. This kid's probably playing a copy of Tetris he got from his pops, or that Josh sent him in a ROM.
We're not allowed to do that legally. You have to find. You have to own yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a video. Yeah, he's got it on a video card or on a screen somewhere. But no, I look at this and my heart gets all warm about like preservation and like holding on to the past just so we can share it with the future. Josh, thank you for including this story. Josh, look at you got me all crying and shit. First official show of the year.
And then of course we got a banger of a meme for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, it's meme time.
Me
Time. All right.
Yeah. So for those who can't see, it's muscled out Mickey, preparing for public domain day one. He's lifting, he's looking good, he's really buff. And 3 days in, his head is caved in.
Spot on.
Which looks like a screenshot from a Mickey horror game. Like it works on multiple levels.
Watch out for Smushed Mickey. He's coming.
And for reference, for those who don't know about it, we're recording this January 3rd. So
yeah. Smushed Mickey is probably a Rule 34.
Donald and Goofy, what are you doing?
I'll do it again.
Kingdom Hearts. There's a joke. Kingdom Hearts joke in there somewhere.
We need the Keyblade.
Sora's tied up in the back. Now it's hung.
Okay. Oh my gosh. We've got one last segment for the show. So hey, 2024 is here. So we're gonna talk, things we're looking forward to, resolutions for the year, and predictions. So let's kick it off with games we're looking forward to. I'll start. So if you remember from this show this time last year, my most anticipated game of 2023 was Frostpunk 2. My most anticipated game of 2024 is Frostpunk 2 because we're still waiting. But I kind of got my fill a little bit for it at the end of the year here, playing Last Train Home. It scratched that itch a little bit. It wasn't quite Frostpunk, but it had enough to where I was like, okay, all right, I can hold off. I haven't dabbled back into the first Frostpunk yet, but it might be worth doing that this year. And two, it's just a great setting. You get me anything that is Snowpiercer adjacent, and I'm like, yes, all right, let's do this, let's go. So that is my most anticipated.
Do you do Snowpiercer the show? Snowpiercer the movie I thought was like a 10, and I never got the show. I never got into the show.
I've never sat down to watch the show. I watched the movie a while back when it came out. I need to watch it again, but I remember really liking it. Anything where, it's so simple. Like poor people on the back of the train, rich people up front. we're having a party up front. You're not invited. I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm here for it. Let's watch. That being
Looking at
said,
screenshots of Frostpunk 2, it's like looks gorgeous.
oh my god,
Like
those guys make beautiful games.
picturesque.
They make beautiful games. And, you know, there's some other like management type games where I'm like, I could probably hold off long enough by playing it, like Terra Nil from last year, the ecosystem game where you're tearing stuff down to build. Instead of being a city builder, it's a city destroyer. So I kind of like that concept. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? That kind of sounds like it's like in the intersection of Frostpunk. So maybe I'll hold, because you know what? This time next year, something tells me I'm going to be saying Frostpunk 2025, but we'll see. Who wants to go next?
I can go. Nick's going to judge me hardcore for it. I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I'm not judging you. Those remakes are in really good hands.
I mean, the way they ended with remake was like, it left me like I wanted more. I do want more. So it's like I'm very intrigued with what they're doing. It's not your typical, you know, or we're just going to make it more modern. We're going to throw some stuff in. No, they are changing it up, and I am in. Take my money.
And that was a cool twist at the end of that one, is that like you think you're getting just a retelling,
and you're not.
But right, it's kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys are anime fans, but the Evangelion movies.
Yes.
Like when they redid those, and it starts, and you think you know what you're getting, and then it's like, oh,
and all of a sudden they throw you a curveball. Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck?
That's cool.
I think the only thing that's throwing me from it, Josh, is that they're doing the Kingdom Hearts thing where they have like all these in between games with these weird names.
Oh, like the Forever Crisis. Yeah, I could see that, but they don't. Okay, here's the deal. Don't play any of the in-betweener games. Focus on the main things alone.
But one of them has Yuffie in it. It has Yuffie, Josh.
Yuffie, and which one are you talking about particularly?
Didn't they do like a Yuffie game? Like
they did Integrate, which was like the DLC, which is just a continuation of the ending, and it's just showing what Yuffie was doing throughout the whole thing, basically.
Well, I need to play all of it if I'm going to play the new one.
Well, why don't you? I mean, you have a PS4. I have a copy of it.
I have a copy of it on this PS4. I just have to plug it in.
Final Fantasy. Can I go next? Yes, please.
Go, Jaymo. We could argue about this for hours.
So, since this isn't really a game, I'll do two. But the first one is the Elden Ring DLC. My brothers and I had so much fun through that game. I've been a Soulsborne fan since the beginning, even back on the PlayStation 3 and Demon's Souls, and just been so great because there's never really been a game that so I have an older brother and a younger brother, and Ring is the one game that hit the sweet spot for all of us. We're all obsessed with it. So having new content to explore, and I'm hoping, I don't think I'll get them to agree, but I really want them to like wait for me so we encounter new stuff together. But my little brother's a bit of a control freak. He like needs to run through it first solo so he can fully enjoy it, and then he'll play multiplayer. But Elden Ring was, I think, one of the best games of the last 10 years. So super excited for more content. And what do you guys think of these Switch 2 rumors? I've heard there's like the clamshell idea that like it'll be like the DS, but it'll split. So it can be plugged into the TV and you can have your Wii U style second screen, or you could split it and play multiplayer with somebody, you know, also on the bus, but you each have your own screen. I think that could be cool. I don't know. I feel like there's something there.
I'm trying to remember back to what like Switch 1 rumors were. And I don't know if like, I don't remember if like they were close at all, but I do like the idea of a shell, because I remember like going from Game Boy. So like Game Boy Advance had the flip, but then once we made that jump to DS and had the dual screen, it was special. It was like, it didn't always work. Like there were weird games where you had to blow on things, but I thought the two screens were cool.
Kids these days don't understand. We had to blow on our games back in the day. NES, we had to blow on it. Then DS, we had to blow on it. I don't know. Like, I think the Wii U, I'm actually a Wii U defender. I loved that system for all the stupidity of how it was born and its concept. It had some great uses of that double screen. So I love Nintendo to get another crack at that with the Switch audience and with the sort of lessons learned. And especially since, you know, Steam Deck, it's like eating their lunch. You got to do some, if you're not going to have parity with the Steam Deck, you gotta do something super different. And I think the clamshell that can split into 2 consoles, I think that could be it.
Yeah, because like you said, Steam Deck's eating their lunch. Like for a while, they were able to take their foot off the gas and be like, "Hey, indie games, come over here. Xbox doesn't really do anything with you anymore. Come over here. Come on, come on, come on. The people can take you with them." And then Steam Deck came out and said, "You've already bought the fucking game. Play it on the go.
Yeah.
Here you go."
Switch is like, oh, we got Red Dead Redemption 2 for $60, and it's like, oh, Steam sale for $4, like, and it's not a compromised version. Like, Nintendo has to do something different, or they have to modernize, which I don't think they'll ever do.
Well, cell phones are starting to get into that 2-screen like shell like flip up, so I could see the Switch doing like an iteration of that. Now you got me curious. Let's see what's next. So, do we want to do predictions next, or do we want to do resolutions?
I mean, I've got 2 predictions.
All right, Josh, you've got them ready to go. Let's do predictions.
Yeah, I'll fire them off right now. So the first one, I think Ubisoft is going to have the worst year ever.
Can you elaborate a little bit for the uneducated?
Why?
So I think they'll start off strong with Prince of Persia. Like that's going to be that's their opener. So I think they'll do good with that. However, I think with everything else between Skull and Bones and what's the other one that's supposed to come out?
Is it their hero shooter with all the Tom Clancy people?
I think both are going to fail miserably, and they're going to have to start letting people go. They're going to have a mass layoff.
They're going to get bought up by Square Enix.
Yeah, well, and that's ironically my second prediction. Square Enix is going to have their best year, honestly, probably ever. You ready for this? So we've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Then we have Final Fantasy XIV is coming to the Xbox for the first time.
Oh.
So you introduced a whole new console to MMO. Then, on top of that, Final Fantasy XIV has their DLC, their next expansion coming out, Dawn Trail. And then possibly they'll have their next Kingdom Hearts title that's supposed to be for the phone. I'm not saying that's going to be their breadwinner, but I'm saying as far as all avenues go, they've hit every single console, and they're making money.
Sounds good. I mean, that sounds like a big year for them.
Oh, and I don't know any of their side projects either. This is just like their major ones.
Right, yeah, that's just Final Fantasy. They got so many other brands.
Yeah.
Well, and they've cut all the... I'm air quoting really hard. They cut all their fat with like IDOS and all the they had Crystal Dynamics for a while too, right? I believe until they sold them to is either Embracer or Tencent. So yeah, they're going in the direction of their RPGs, and they're like, you know what, we don't. Because every other like Western game that came out, they're like, oh, it underperformed. It did really well, but it didn't land where we thought it was going to land. And that because they did that again with the next Tomb Raider, and then they did that again with the Guardians of the Galaxy game. And so now like they kind of leaned out. They've got all their RPGs coming out. Josh, again, someone's buying Square Enix.
I don't think anybody's.
It's a matter of time.
I don't think anybody is. If anything, I think Square is going to buy somebody up at the end of the year.
It's going to become a big player.
Well, I think they'll try to absorb somebody who's outside of what they currently do. Because they had like that First Soldier, that their equivalent of a battle royale. Great concept, but failed execution. Problem is they didn't bring any experts in. I think they'll absorb another company by the end of the year, or try to acquire them, and they'll start to use them as like their next stepping stone. Because obviously, you don't want to be just known for one genre. You want to be branched out. Like, yeah, they branched out or tried to branch out with these Westerns, but they just didn't work out because, I mean, I don't know the exact reason, but obviously they didn't. They sold them, so.
Right.
All right, I've got 2. I thought of them just now, so they're going to be crazy. They're not.
You're going to call the shot.
I think the Silent Hill 2 remake is going to come out and crash and burn.
Yep.
Really?
And the Silent Hill, like the Resident Evil fans are like loud, but they're kind of like Capcom's kind of got them on a leash, I feel like. Whereas the Silent Hill fans, they're just out there, man. They're wandering the streets of Silent Hill, barking at anybody who doesn't.
Silent Hill. Silent Hill.
Well, the mobile game the choose your own adventure sort of mobile game where you could pay
Timefall?
to win
Townfall?
yeah, that's Ascension is what it's called.
Ascension, okay.
Silent Hill
Townfall is the
Ascension.
other one.
Yeah, but it's like you're kind of doing a communal story, but you can pay to win, which means that you have more influence over what happens in the story. And people got really upset by it. So it seems like right out the gate, they're sort of not understanding what people like about Silent Hill.
Well, and
Um,
Bloober's doing the 2 remake, which Bloober people either love or hate them. They had that Medium game come out, and I'm not saying the game's mid. The game was called Medium, but
yeah.
it what was that last year or 2 years ago, and it was this kind of as the kids say, mid, and people are looking at this and being like, I really don't want Bloober mixed into my Silent Hill. So I could kind of see that coming out and bombing, kind of like what this Metal Gear Solid re-release package did here recently, where it came out and it didn't really make waves because it was kind of broken. And I don't see Konami selling because I think they make too much money in other areas. But I could see them maybe dealing out some IP here, maybe going to the highest bidder. I'm not saying Kojima's got Silent Hill or Metal Gear money, but I could see him getting his posse round up to be like, all right, hey, we'll buy you Metal Gear, but it has to come out for PlayStation exclusively. I could see that happening.
But see, I'd be okay with that then. I mean, even if it was just Silent Hill, like what we had with that demo was pure gold.
Do you guys get to play PT?
I had it and played it. It was so good.
My friend Colleen, it was deleted from her system, and we discovered a way to time travel on the memory card of her PlayStation 4, wasn't it? PlayStation 4?
Mm-hmm.
And so we reset the system back to like its settings from a year prior to undelete the game. And it worked, and I got to play it, and it was a moment. I mean, that demo just is one of the biggest heartbreaks of the last, couple decades of gaming. And, I don't think the Metal Gear franchise can survive without Kojima. I don't think it should.
Mm-mm.
Well, let's just face it. 5 was like the least involved Kojima was ever in, and it's the least. I mean, besides obviously, I think maybe 4 because people clamored for wanting it off of PS3, which I'm one of them people. But it's just one of those. No one really talked about it. It kind of just came and gone.
No, 5 like when 5 came out, people held it up like it was this masterpiece. But yeah, you could kind of feel, and 5 came out unfinished. It's crazy that 5 was so well renowned, but 5 was so unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait, you guys gave this game a 10? What?
I mean, I pre-ordered it. I loved it, but then I also saw what they were doing to Kojima, and they hurt my boy.
Josh, you also liked Metal Gear Survive, so I've seen your yays mean nothing. Your pause mean nothing. I've seen.
I never said like. I gave it the benefit of the doubt and tried it because I liked the concept. I did not say I liked it.
Messy game that has an interesting concept goes a long way. I'd much rather try something that seems out there, but I agree though. It's like they were so nasty with how they dealt with Kojima, and I don't even think he's necessarily the easiest person to work with, but just it seems like they're taking his art and his branding and this thing that is his love child, and it won't ever feel legitimate or even right without him.
No, Delta will definitely show if Metal Gear will survive without Kojima. Yeah. And even then, it's just a rehashing of, and 3. That's all it is.
And if it fails, they could always put out more pachinko machines. My other prediction is that we get a Resident Evil announcement this year. So it'll either be RE9, what they're doing with that, or it'll be an RE remake, which I don't think they're going to do Code Veronica. I don't think they're going to do 5. I think they're going to go back and remake the original. It's been 20 years.
So the GameCube remake is so good, though.
It's so good.
It's like GameCube remakes. It still looks good.
It's
to
amazing.
This day, those graphics.
Know what I actually see them doing now that you mentioned that, Nick? So I do see Code Veronica being their next remake. However, I see them, if they're not going to remake 1, I could see them porting it to the VR.
Porting 1 to VR?
Porting 1 to VR
and making it first person.
Wild.
So there is that fan made one that they made that's like the PS1 graphics, and it doesn't look that good, but still, like I could see that. That'd be huge.
Could
you imagine playing it?
Because I've been sitting here because I've been racking my brain like, okay, the areas are too small for that third person perspective. But the more I think about it, I'm like, just do it in first person. Why do you need to do it in third person? Or you could have it. You could have both. They've shown that they can go back and forth and have no problem. Even in eight's got both now. And I think that's why they did it. I think that's why they did it. They're gonna make. Oh my god! I've just talked myself into this. Okay, hey everyone, confirmed here on Smashing Game Time, January 3rd, 2024. They're remaking the original Resident Evil with the first and third person perspectives. It's coming to you 2025 around April. That's usually when Capcom does their stuff. Hey, you heard it here first.
Jaymo. I also see. Well, before we move forward, sorry. I also see them doing a rehashing of 1 and 0, making it 1.
I could see. So they remake 1 and they have like maybe a DLC that ties in pieces of 0. Kind of like I could see them doing a 5 remake down the road and tying in pieces of Code Veronica as DLC.
Okay, I guess I could see that.
Or as like a prologue.
No, I could see that. That makes sense. Okay.
Just because I think they're scared of like not numbering their Resident Evils. They're like, oh, it's not Revelations. We swear, it's not Revelations.
It's Revelations 3.
There's no number. We got numbers. We got numbers.
So I have 2 predictions. One's loosely gaming related, and one isn't at all. But I'm trying to get this out into the ether as much as possible.
Oh, he's making a presidential election prediction.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 should be coming out next year, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling just because of a lot of the way that Jim Carrey's become embattled with the press and with comment sections, I don't think he's going to come back, and I think it's going to be a fine movie, but I think we're really going to feel his absence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll do cool stuff with it, but I think it'll be like, yeah, but should you have made this without him? Because I don't know how you guys feel about his performance as Robotnik, but
I thought he was fantastic, but I do agree that it's going to be missing. I mean, so I think they said, if I heard right, the rumor is they're doing Shadow. Shadow's going to be the villain.
That was the tease at the end of the second movie, and there's been a Twitter picture. I guess they build a statue of these little what's the word? The furries, the Sonic characters. They have like full size little statues of them, and they showed a picture of like Shadow's feet. So it's definitely Shadow, and I'm excited for fans to get more Shadow stuff because he's very beloved. But I don't think he's gonna come. Jim Carrey's gonna come out of retirement, and I think we're gonna kind of miss him.
Do you think
my other movie prediction?
Do you think they recast the role?
Absolutely not. No, I think they just make Shadow the villain, or they do a new villain.
I mean, do you do what video game movies do right now and just cast Jack Black as Dr. Robotnik?
Hey, you leave Jack Black out of this, all right? He is not the Chris Pratt of the world.
He's gonna get. Well,
he just got announced. He just did get announced for something, didn't he?
Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I know he just got announced for something, but hey, he did a fantastic Bowser, and we got Peach out of it.
He's also going to be in the Borderlands movie.
I'm okay with that.
He's just going to
Jack Black.
I love me.
No.
He's going to play Sam Porter.
Oversaturate on the D.
He's going to play Sam Porter Bridges in the Death Stranding movie. Gonna connect you.
Well, Death Stranding also already has Conan O'Brien in it. Like, and then my other prediction, and this is not going at all, but I just have to put this out in the ether as much as possible. Fast and Furious is a 3-parter. So the final Fast and Furious movie is going to be called Fast XXX, Fast XXX, and it's going to have Xander Cage, the XXX franchise, meet Vin Diesel's character from Fast and Furious. So it's going to be Fast XXX, and it's going to have 2 Vin Diesels, which is the only way you could top those movies, is to double down on your Vin Diesels. So you heard it here. Well, actually, you heard it on my podcast first, but you heard it here again. XXX with 2 Vin Diesels.
You crazy son of a bitch. I'm in.
It's going to be a thing.
I'm in.
It's going to be a thing.
I'm in.
Only if we get the gay scene where their cars, meet.
Oh, the American Dad parody where they flip the car and then they
start making out. Yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, we film it like that for France, but then we cut all that stuff for the American release.
I was cracking up because you guys on your Rick and Morty episode reminded me of this episode where Jerry is trying to not impregnate his mom or have sexual intercourse with his mom, and they're flying towards each other in slow motion, and it's just like that's what this all reminded me of.
I hate when that happens. You know, I really related to that episode.
I'm glad I didn't.
Last but not least, resolutions for 2024. Now, this is the hard one because if you make the resolution, we're going to hold you to it. And if you don't do it, we'll kill you. So what's my resolution? And I realize I'm say that looking at two screens. I'm going to get less screen time this year. I know. Nick, you're a writer. Nick, you play video games. You want to work in TV and film. Like what less screens. I just want to spend more time with my family, you guys. And so, but to do that, Friday nights, I'm shutting the screens off and might turn on another screen and watch a TV with the family. But damn it, we're doing it together.
I love
family.
Family. Speaking of
Fast and Furious.
There's
a Fast and Furious connection, yeah.
Family. Guys, don't trip over each other. Don't trip over each other. Get your resolutions out.
I'll go next. My resolution is to finally play Miles Morales Spider-Man, and I know it's fantastic. That and Tears of the Kingdom, where it's like I know I'm gonna love these games, but I know I'm going to become lost in those games, and so I pulled off playing them. I am miraculously still unspoiled on both those games. I have to stop effing around and flirting with disaster and just play through Tears of the Kingdom and Miles Morales. Those are my two ones. I don't have a PS5, so if I get one, I'll do Spider-Man 2, but it's not even on PS4, is it? It's a PS5 exclusive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm thankfully free of that. You know, I have an excuse to not play that game, but I've been borrowing my friend Brian's copy of Miles Morales for way too long. It's getting embarrassing. So those games in the backlog, that's my resolution, because I know they're going to be fantastic.
I mean, Miles Morales is compared to the other Spider-Man and to Tears of the Kingdom, it's a little nugget. It's a little bite chunk of a game.
They say it's fast. I have no excuse.
I believe you'll get that one. Tears of the Kingdom, like I need to play Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm just like I'm on Tutorial Island, and I'm like, ugh. All right.
Yeah, the Banjo-Kazooie, like, build your own stuff. It really turned me off to the idea. I don't know how required it is, but I see these people of all these, well, look at this big mech I made in Zelda. And I was like, is that Zelda? Like,
you really don't need to do anything that's so extravagant like you see on there. Don't get me wrong. Some of it's like really cool. I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that. But
they don't force you to touch.
No, like you do basic things. Like the most advanced thing I did throughout my playthrough, which I got like at least halfway through before I even stopped, was putting fans onto my glider. That was it.
Oh, to make a plane.
Yeah. I want to play it so bad because of the parallels to Majora's Mask. And with Majora's Mask being one of my favorites, I'm like, yes, like it's the second game to come out on the same generation. They're using the same engine. They're using a lot of the same assets. Like this should be it for me. This should be it. And it's just, the building and then like my hands being too big for the Switch and hitting the wrong buttons when I'm trying to flip the thing I'm building and I end up throwing it across the map. It's annoying. But I hope you get through it. Josh.
Yeah. So my resolution this year, honestly, it's to just not buy as many games. I feel like this year, or the 2023, I bought a lot. And I feel like I only played a tenth of what I bought.
Tarkov. You only played Tarkov.
Realistically, I only played Apex, Spider-Man 2, and Final Fantasy 16.
But you know, Steam sales, they get you.
You know what you did that I really liked this year? You went to the library and got some games for your PlayStation 5. I admired that.
I was very proud of that. I actually need to see what they have on there right now, because there's probably a couple games that I could get. But I want this year to be more of focusing on what my library currently is, and then seeing what my local library has available. See what I did there? Yeah.
I see.
Good. Yeah. Library. It's a double entendre kind of.
Sort of.
I do want to write like one review like a week for our website. So that's another little side one.
Yeah, but that to me that's like, okay, I that is doable at this point. It's just I feel like there was so much going on in 2023, and I kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to play this. I'm going to go do this. I want to focus on this." I just never could because there was so much going on.
You might call last year our come up. No, No? Okay.
Congratulations on your new website, by the way, guys. I was checking that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Yeah.
That was sitting on Squarespace for like 3 months. I was like, what do I do? But then
I really like the way your article sort of when you go from your top 10 list and like each one would kind of fade. I don't know how you did that if that's an auto setting, but
honestly, I don't know how I did that either.
it's cool though. Did you play with it? I was like, that's nice.
Yeah, he was drunk when he did that.
I think I think the theme I picked just defaults to that, and I was like, yeah, it can stay. It can stay. Cool. I'm not gonna change it. But hey, everybody, look, we made it to the end of the show. We hope you guys all have some resolutions that you're setting and working towards as we enter into 2024. Hey, if you can keep up with me, Nick, at That Kaufman on Twitter, you can also keep up with me on the YouTube and the Twitch at Nick Fat Night. And I also have articles over on Game Chronicles, which, by the way, they have a new logo. It looks slick. Go over there and look at it. And then also I have some articles coming out on Hard Drive. I've been pitching those guys for the better part of 3 years, and I finally got onto the pitch team. And going to have some funny articles coming out on harddrive.net, so go check those out. Josh, where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me anywhere at I'm Josh Sang.
That resolution, changing that handle.
Nope, that handle stays. That's all thanks to you and your team, Nick. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Jaymo, where can the people find your face, hear your voice, find you on the internet, maybe dox you, address, social security number?
Yes. Yeah, you ruined my teaching career. Why not? The best place to go is www.theoldswitcharoo.com, switcharoo.com. Where you can find a link to our podcast. Again, we are working our way through all 200 plus games in the Nintendo Switch Online catalog. So we'd love if you guys played along with us, guest hosted on our podcast, leave us a voicemail, send us an email. We don't really have much of an audience right now, but we're just playing games for the sake of talking about it. And I want to thank you guys so much for having me. You've been an absolute delight, and it's been really fun talking to you guys. Do go on.
Go on. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, theoldswitcharoo.com. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we're trying to put out 2 episodes a month. We've been sticking to it, and it's been a lot of fun.
No, and I'm glad that we were able to get you on the episode. I know we were working on it for a while there. Things kept on coming up either on your side or on our side, and it was just like, I want this to happen. These guys sound amazing, and I'm just glad we were able to do it. And we look forward to having you and Mike again in future episodes because I love that. This was amazing. Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody. You can find Smashing Game Time again anywhere you get your podcasts. Go find us. Again, fuck the algorithm. Tell a friend. Word of mouth is king here at Smashing Game Time. Thank you to Alex Marvin Clark for our intro and outro song, Hunt Him Down. He's got a SoundCloud that is in the show notes. Go check it out. We will also have links to where you can find Jaymo and the Old Switcharoo. Go down to the show notes. They're down there. They're down there. As Jaymo said, we do have a website. That is smashinggametime.com. We have links to not every podcast yet, but some of the latest and some of the latest interviews that we've done. So go check it out. All of Game of the Year 2023 is there. This episode is there. I hope that's how you found it, you lucky son of a gun. And we're gonna have articles. My top 10's on there. Josh's top 10 will be on there. We've got Arnold. I'm blanking on the name. Oh my god. We have guest list on there. They'll be on there. I don't know why I'm blanking on names all of a sudden. It's probably because it's 10 o'clock. But Josh and I are also going to do weekly little gaming journals on there, which I guess that's what a blog is. But once a week, Josh will have a post. I'll have a post. It's just what we're digging, what we're doing. So hey, I promise we won't SEO ho around with those journals. I promise.
No, it's gonna be strictly Dear Diaries. Dear Diary. I keep dying in Escape from Tarkov because I'm 30 and apparently have the reflexes of a child.
Mine's going to be Dear Penthouse. I never believed anything I read in this magazine until this happened to me. I was playing Escape from Tarkov.
That reference is lost on the younger generation.
But hey, everybody, this has been Smashing Game Time. I hope you all had a smashing great time. We'll see each and every one of you next time.